Alright, so I figure it's time to give you all a little update here on the door project. I don't know if you can see over there, but zoom in a little bit. I got my track up, all of it. I got that up yesterday, I believe. And then I got started on my frame. You can see I've got the basic frame. That side's going to be the top. That's the bottom. This is actually the back side. And I've got a couple of uprights in here. These are going to be where the sheets of plywood are going to end. I've got 3 4x8 sheets of plywood that are going to have to be cut down to about 77 inches, because that's how tall this door frame is going to end up being, roughly. Then I'm going to put another board about middle of here, another board middle of there, and another board middle of the far section, just so I got some place to anchor the center of the plywood. And then I'm going to put cross braces between all of the pieces, between all of the uprights. But what I'm working on now is I'm working on putting corner bracing in. You can see I've got those steel plates there, on the rest of the major structural joints. Only got 2 more of those sheets, I think. Maybe I've got, nope, just 2, but those don't get screwed in. Those I've been using these 8D nails that are over here. I put 10 per plate, 3 and then 2 on either side. I don't know, you can kind of see the nail heads. That one I put 4 in the bottom because the center hole hit right on one of the screws that's holding that board to the other board. So right now I'm waiting on the battery for my impact to charge, because when I was putting, well, let me turn you back around. When I was putting this corner piece in, my battery died. And actually I don't know how much is on the drill. The drill's got 1 brick, so that wouldn't gain me a hell of a lot. But what I think I'm going to do is stand over here under this nice new light that I put in also yesterday. I'm going to probably make corner pieces for, or corner braces for the other 2 corners. I'm not going to put corner braces on the center uprights. I'm just going to put them on the 4 outside corners, because that's where the majority of the structural integrity needs to be. I'm putting a lot more effort into this door than I was originally intending to, but that's okay. The more effort I put into it, the more I learn about how to do stuff like this, because I'm not a woodworking expert. The only other major woodworking project I've done is I built a gun cabinet in my senior year of high school, but that was 6 years ago. And I really haven't done any woodworking since. So this is really the only woodworking I've done majorly, and the sun is actually shining today for a change. Last week it snowed Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It snowed all weekend last week. And this weekend it's, well, today it's 40 degrees this morning and the sun is shining. But I think I'm going to go over to my truck while my battery for my impact is charging and get my pellet gun, because I did see a nice fat squirrel running across my pasture over here a little while ago. So I think I'm going to go get my pellet gun and my box of pellets, and that way if I see any more squirrels I can take little pot shots at them. So I'll get back to you later when I've got another door update, and I might need to go get another battery for this thing, so stay tuned. Alright, I got my other 2 corner braces in. I actually went and found another battery for my impact. I I went and got another one of my cobalt batteries out of the truck. That's a 4 amp hour one. The one that's on the charger is just a 2. But now that I've got my corner braces in, I can go ahead and cut my next 3 2x4s to put in here, get them screwed in, make sure I get them in where I want them, and then I can flip this over and put the plywood on the other side. And once that's all said and done, I can put my door hangers on. I've got one of them over there. I think the other one is over on the bench here, or by the bench somewhere. I know the hardware to bolt them to the door is, yep, there. The other one's right there, along with the hardware. And then the other night I bought another pack of them. These are Premium ProTrack brand strap trolley hangers from Menards, made in USA, which I like. That's the SKU number for them if you want to look them up on Menards. And basically that's how they work. You run the bolt in from the top to hang it from the rollers, and then there's these bolts that go through the holes in the plate here that actually bolt it to the door. And is there only 4 of them? Maybe there's 5. I don't know. I'll have to get it all out and count it later, but at the moment it doesn't really matter because I'm not ready to hang the door, so I'm not ready to put the hangers on. I will show you one interesting thing though. That screw, you can see, has got a bend to it. I did not bend it. It came out of the box with that bend. And I managed to, by pre-drilling a hole, I managed to carefully get it screwed into that rafter far enough that it's got at least enough strength to hold my coat. But I'm going to go ahead and measure to make sure that the gap in here is what I think it is. It should be the same as the other ones that I cut, but I'm going to remeasure to make sure. And then I'm going to get those 3 put in there and then put my cross braces in, and I'll probably give you another update once that's done. Okay, so I thought I'd give you guys a little update here before I completely sheet this door in. I've got 2 sheets of plywood already on. Ignore the snow and ice on the plywood that was stored outside at Menards. And you can see what I did for bracing here. I just cut chunks of 2x4 and put them in there like so. And obviously you saw what I did with the corners. I don't know if you can see, but I did flip it over before I started putting this plywood on, because on the other side I would have nail plates on each end of these 2x4s here on the vertical. This is going to be the top of the door. Ignore the snow falling, it's like 45 degrees outside. But I've got one more sheet of plywood over there that I'm going to cut down, cutting about 20 inches, 19, 20 inches off the end, making them just shy of, well, they're about, what would they be, just shy of 6.5 foot long. No, it's got to be longer than that. 72 inches. 72 inches is 6 foot, and I'm making them just shy of 77 inches. So yeah, about 6.5 foot. That's what it's going to end up being by the time it hangs from those hangers under the track. That's all the taller it really needs to be. It's just, I'm trying to block off that big hole. So if you can see, there's kind of a gap at this end and not as much of a gap down at that end. And come over here, I didn't quite get the door square because I didn't actually cut the top and bottom boards. I made it as square as I could, but that's a 10 foot wide door. This is a 12 foot wide well, it's a 10-foot wide door opening. This is going to be a 12-foot wide door-ish. Looks were never what I was going for here. I'm not a carpenter. I'm not a construction worker. I just am in the shadow. But I just want to be able to close that off, put some locks on this, and be able to close this shed up. Hopefully, with the door covered up, the space heater that I've got over there, that one, will be able to keep it semi-warm in this shed, at least over there. It was doing a pretty good job this morning when I was out here, because it was already 32 degrees this morning when I was out here at 5 o'clock, whatever time it was. I get up early, but I was out here. Well, I've been out here most of the day. I got the frame all put together. I've got 2/3 of the plywood on. I'm going to put the last sheet of plywood on, and then I'm going to figure out where I'm going to mount my hangers. And from there, it'll be time to stand it up, spin it around, and because I want the plywood facing out, I'll stand it up, spin it around. I'll probably have my cousin or my uncle, or hell, maybe even call my dad and have him come over and give me a hand getting it actually hung up. And from there, I'll be ready to put the handle on and the latches, and it'll be good to go, hopefully. But you can see out here we've got a bit of a melt going on. There's water standing there. The roof is pretty well cleaned off here. Yeah, it's a warm one today, but I don't think it's supposed to be quite as warm tomorrow, which makes me a little worried that some of this water out here is going to become ponds of ice. So I'm going to get back to building this door, finish building this door, and probably give you guys an update either once I get those hangers on or once it's up. Just depends on when I decide to pick up the camera again. So I'm in the shadow again, but I'll get that last piece of plywood cut and screwed down there, and then I'll figure out where I want to put my hangers and start drilling holes and putting bolts in and that kind of stuff. And from there we'll get it on the track. So stay tuned. Okay folks, well, as you can see, the door is up right now and in the track, and it is dark. Wasn't able to film actually hanging the door because it took 4 people, but actually 5, but the door is up now. It is verifiably overbuilt. It's a lot heavier than I was expecting it to be, but I've got 4 roller hangers on there. When it's closed, there's enough of a sag in the track here that the middle 2 really aren't holding it, but they're not that much slack, and if I tighten them up so they're tight over there, when it's rolled open like this, only the inner 2 would be holding it and the outer 2 would be slack. So realistically, I don't think it's that heavy. Just like I said, yeah, it took 4 people, because it took, well, really only took 4 of us to get it over here, or 3 of us rather, but it took 1 person underneath with a pry bar picking up on it, another person getting the rollers started in the end of the track, and then 2 people pushing until we got the 3rd roller in there. Then it just basically slid itself right in. I mean, you can see it's got, it slides nice and easy. I've got a handle on the outside of it here now. There is a gap at the top. not a big deal, but it covers the whole opening for the most part. The reason I put the handle there is because then it's on one of the uprights. Oh, okay, it was supposed to be on one of the uprights. It's a little off, but I could pull it off and move it over 2 inches to the, well, to the left on the outside, and I might, just so that it's actually on that upright, but it should hold just fine in the plywood. That's 5/8 thick plywood. I've got these falling drills, but I've got these lockable hasp latches that I'm going to put on the outside. I'm going to put them like this so that the lock is on the door frame, not on the door itself, just because otherwise I don't think I'd have enough going. No, I really couldn't do it the other way because of the way the hinge is. So that's going to be it for the door build. I now have a shop with a closable door. Lumber for this project cost me, I think, somewhere in that $180 to $200 range, plus all the money I spent on screws and hardware is probably another 100 or 150. So when all is said and done, I think I built this door for less than 400 bucks, even with hardware. So those nail plates were like 90 cents a piece. They were nothing. But yeah, it is heavy built, hopefully built to last. And I'm noticing a little bit more of an echo in here with that door. I mean, there was an echo in here before without the door, but the door is up, it rolls, it's good to go. So hopefully you enjoyed watching me build this door. I know I didn't film a lot of it, but you never realize how long something's going to take until you try to do it on camera. So I tried to film as much of it as I could. I tried not to bore you to death with watching me do all the tedious labor of cutting the board, screwing it into place, cutting the board, screwing it into place. So just kind of updated you as I went along. It's good to go. I can close the door, I can lock up the shop, and feel better knowing that my shop is locked up and everything in here is going to stay in here. Because unless somebody's really determined to get into my shop, the lock should deter most honest people. And I'm not really that worried about people coming in here and trying to steal stuff anyways. So anyways, with that, I'm going to end this video series. If you like, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe on the videos, and I'll see you in the next one.